Gear Tasting Radio is brought to you by Imminent Threat Solutions. ITS provides knowledge that empowers individuals with indispensable skill sets to explore the world and prevail against all threats. Right now, as a special thank you for all podcast listeners, we're offering 10% off in the ITS store. Simply use the code GTR to save 10% at store.itstactical.com. Welcome to Gear Tasting Radio, where we offer an in-depth look into the usage and philosophy behind the equipment in our lives. I am joined by Rob Henderson.
Hello.
As always. And I'm Brian Black. Today we are going to be talking about winterizing your vehicle, so to speak. So this would consist of things that you put into your vehicle or take out of your vehicle in the wintertime, in the colder weather, as well as things that you do to your vehicle during that time period too, or to prepare for it. Because we're right at that tipping point where it's about to get cold, but it's not quite cold yet. So figure this is a good time to kind of address some of those things.
Yeah, take your silk shorts out.
Yes, silkies come out.
Put your silk pants in.
UDT shorts out. Heavy-duty pants in.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing that's probably the most prevalent is clothing. Mm-hmm. The summer, I look at the summer a little differently. I mean, we have horrible summers here in Texas.
Yeah.
However, my big thing during the summer is water. So, that's what I make sure I have during the summer. However, I have left water in my vehicle, and it's frozen before during the winter. So that was a mistake I only made once, and I was like, yeah, duh, of course it's going to freeze.
Yeah.
So that's something you just might want to keep in mind, especially if you have it in a plastic container. That can be a horrible accident waiting to happen, even if it's heat, because I've had those plastic water containers crack on me and water leaks out all over the place. And luckily my FJ's had a floor that
soaked it up,
or
just the rubber mats. Yeah, you should plan for things to leak.
Yeah,
if it's a liquid, plan for it to leak.
Right. Yeah. There's really no way to fully waterproof something unless it's in a watertight container that's advertised as such. Mm-hmm. Even a watertight container that can hold water really is not going to withstand the elements.
Yeah, I have always been surprised at what the Texas heat will do to stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I will put things in, like batteries, just standard type things, and I'll go through and check them. Probably not as often as I should, and I'll be surprised, like, man, wow, it really did a number on this.
Yeah, so that's a good point too. Even especially in the cold, if you're gonna store something electronic in your vehicle that operates on batteries, definitely use lithium batteries. I've pretty much switched solely to lithium batteries for anything that doesn't require a battery change every few days, like some of our equipment here. We just get Amazon AA's, but for the most part, everything that I care about that I really don't want to get ruined, I use lithium batteries because, first of all, they won't leak. Second of all, they withstand the cold and the heat much better than regular alkaline batteries. And they're more expensive. Who doesn't want to pay more for batteries?
Right.
Yeah, that's the part I hate.
And the third benefit is they cost more. So you feel fancy.
Right.
But it's a good point because,
Opulence.
When it's daylight and you're warm and you just came out of your house, having fresh topped up batteries and a flashlight probably isn't that big of a deal. But when you're wet and cold and it's dark, having good batteries that have lasted and have enough charge to get you light is a big deal. So you'll be thankful then. Yeah.
A big thing is also an ice scraper. That's something that you probably want to just leave in your car year round. That's probably not a bad thing to have year round. Not that you really need it in the warmer months, but it's so small that it really doesn't take up much room, so you can keep it in a glove box, and that way you just always know it's there, and you don't have to cycle it in and out
People are
during the season.
Woefully unprepared for that around here. I watched a woman get out with a 10-inch kitchen knife and stab her passenger side window repeatedly, and I'm just waiting for it to glance off and hit her.
Ugh.
I mean, people are just not ready. And like you said, the ice scraper is a couple bucks. Get it, and you'll never have to think about it. Don't pour water on your windshield either.
Oh, God, yeah.
Don't pour water on your windshield.
Yeah, we might as well say that, as long as...
Just in case you are out there with a warm jug of water, don't do that.
Yeah. It can cause your glass to crack, and then you'll be buying a new windshield, which is not a good thing.
Not a fun thing.
As well as, this is something that I just thought of that we should probably mention too. If you have chips and cracks in your windshield, you should get those repaired before the colder months because they can splinter even further.
Yeah.
Especially what that allows is it allows water to get in, and then it freezes. When
it's even worse.
Yeah, and it just makes it horrible. So if you have chips and stuff. A little tip, too, is that most insurance companies have protection for that, and they will send somebody out to your house, and it will not count as a claim on your insurance. It's just it's like a soft claim almost, and they have provisions built into most insurance company contracts that you sign that will allow for a certain dollar amount of chip stuff to be fixed.
Interesting.
So,
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and you won't have to pay your deductible. It's completely separate from that, so... Definitely look into that if you have auto insurance, which I hope most people have, because nobody likes an uninsured motorist.
Yeah, we hope most listeners have auto insurance. I mean, that's good because you should be doing kind of like an all-over inspection. As much as it sucks to get up underneath and check the undercarriage, do it. I mean, especially we don't deal with it as much down here, but definitely in the northern states, you're looking at rust, especially from salt corrosion and stuff from the roads when they salt the roads.
We recently had a change over here where it dropped significantly in temperature, and I know my tires decreased in PSI, so I had to inflate my tires again. I actually waited till it evened out a little bit temperature-wise to make sure they were still low. I didn't just immediately put air in my tires, and that's something that you should kind of keep in mind too, just because...
You'll get the reverse.
Just because you get in and the sensor goes off.
Yeah.
If it's not quite cold season yet, you might want to wait and see how they fluctuate. You may not really need air. Obviously, if it's a single tire, maybe there's actually a problem with that tire, but...
Good time to get it fixed.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is there's never a good time to be stranded on the side of the road, but there's a bad time to be stranded on the side of the road, which is during the winter.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to be sitting in a hot car during the summer. You can find shade, make sure you have water with you, that kind of thing. But in the winter, it's a little different. There's, you're more susceptible to the cold. It's just a different animal.
Yeah.
Especially if it's wet outside too.
Yep.
Cold, wet, and miserable is not a good combination.
No.
So
something that I have learned from having older or not as reliable vehicles is you should check your heat before you need it.
Oh, yes. Great tip.
Because you've been spending all summer running that AC and it's been running beautifully, but you've never turned your heat on. So if it's been 6 months or so, just turn it on and make sure it works, because nothing worse than trying to turn the heat on and just getting cold air. And I hope it starts heating up soon.
Yep. Great tip. So just to recap, we got... Turn on your heater. Also, check antifreeze.
Yep.
Make sure it's antifreeze, not just water. If you have an older vehicle and you're putting water in it for some reason.
If you're a weirdo.
Also, make sure your windshield wiper fluid is a temperature-rated fluid, because that can freeze too, or it won't function correctly. So I always use the better Rain-X kind of low temp rated
stuff is always just marginally more expensive.
Yeah.
It's not like triple or quadruple the price of the cheaper stuff.
1, it helps block the rain on your windshield. 2, it protects from freezing. And 3, it just costs more.
Right. Once again, costs more. Great benefit.
Great benefit. So just kind of going over the car, check your tires.
Yes.
Check the fluids,
check
things like
spare.
that. You should always be checking oil regardless.
Yeah.
And also, the tires are more important at this time of the season because, again, the whole breakdown in the winter type thing. And as well as having clothes and a blanket and stuff like that in your vehicle, that's a big benefit. Make sure you have an ice scraper if you are in an area that's prone to ice, which most people are. Don't do like my dad did growing up and just use his driver's license to scrape the ice off the windshield. I never understood why he did that.
The Amex windshield scraper.
Yeah, it's dumb. Anyway.
Yeah.
Or uses that to try to break into a house.
Yeah.
I saw him do that too, and he broke his credit card doing that. Anyway.
Gotta have a throwaway
but I
credit
digress.
card for that.
Yeah. And let's see. So windshield, get your cracks repaired in your windshield. I guess in terms of vehicle, the big things would, just kind of looking over it. You got tires, you got fluids, you got making sure it's running, you've got windshield, and then heater. So, kind of a general checkup like that is always a good thing. And it never hurts to do that other times of the year.
You should be doing that year round.
Yeah, it's just kind of more prevalent right now.
We know how it goes. Sometimes you forget.
Yep. And then just adding in Adding in warm clothing, that's really the big thing.
Yeah, I would go through the gear because and it's a little unfair for us because we're in Texas, so we have like specific heat related things that a lot of people may not deal with. But I mean, it gets nasty bad hot here. So this is actually when I'll cycle in, I don't know, more like what I would call like real food. Like I can put an MRE in the car and have it be able to sit in the wintertime without much of an issue. In the summer, it'll bake them.
In the winter, an MRE is a great thing to keep in the car because you can use that little heater that's enclosed in it too, which will work in the cold.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Sometimes stoves don't work depending on the temperature and altitude and depending on the fuel, obviously, that the fuel is the biggest concern. But it's those MRE heaters will work first time every time. I've never had a bad one, and I've eaten a lot of MREs in my life. So
you're like 30% MRE at this point.
Yeah. I'm like a brown plastic bag at this point.
My left hand is jalapeno cheese. That's what made that.
Yeah. Yeah, food is a big thing, clothing. Yeah, that's really food is kind of integral to a winter loadout, in my opinion, in clothing.
And I kind of change what I drive with. So like you were talking about with water, since it doesn't really keep in the freezing, I try to make an effort to put a water bottle in the car.
Yes.
When I'm leaving the house. I'll just take a water bottle with me just in case.
Something you may want to look into if you are concerned about keeping water in the vehicle is, I think that Nalgene still makes these, but it might be like Granite Gear or something. But anyway, it's like a Nalgene sleeve. It's like an insulated
that's cool.
cover for the Nalgene, and it completely zips shut. And they'll attach to a backpack and stuff like that, so it's great when you're hiking, because that's a real concern. Cool. Like when we did that Mammoth Sniper Challenge, I mean, it dropped below zero, and it was a real big
cold.
deal. Yeah. You know, water lines on water bladders froze.
Oh, yeah.
Because you had to make sure you breathe air back through the line to push the water out of it, because if you left water in that tube,
little exposed
it's
hose.
done.
Yeah, you're done.
Right, so... You know, and the Nalgene was a big thing. A lot of people walked with Nalgenes hanging off their pack, and they would just completely freeze, and they get to the next checkpoint and go, "Oh crap!
Hug the Nalgene.
I don't have water." Yeah,
ouch.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a thing that can prevent that too. If you just buy one of those sleeves, and you could buy a couple of them, and keep a few Nalgenes full of water. Nalgenes are really good because you probably won't be in the situation where you need some 5-gallon jug of water, more than likely, unless you're like going out and you're going to be out for a long time. However, keeping a gallon of water in your car is probably a good plan. You could put 4 Nalgenes in those little things, and yes, it might cost you $70, $80 or something like that for those 4 covers for the wintertime, but at least you know that, hey, at least I've got water.
Right.
So
something else I was thinking of too is we've been recommending a lot lately is those like external battery packs.
Yes.
Which are great, but I would also recommend having like a plug-in charger, because cold weather wreaks havoc with batteries. I mean, it can, especially those, like, you get them on Amazon, the little packs. I mean, you can just leave an iPhone in a car in the heat or the cold, and you'll come back and they're battery issues. So just have like 2 is 1, 1 is none. But those are still great options because it keeps it charged up. Because I have radios and stuff in there, but I mean, baseline communication, I'm going to go to my cell phone, which should have a topped off battery all the time anyway.
Yeah, unless you're into ham radio, I would highly suggest a CB radio at least in your vehicle, so that if your primary communication channel does go down like your cell phone, you at least have something to communicate with somebody on. Because if you can reach a trucker or something on a CB, you can ask them to, call the police or call 911 for you.
That's a great point.
So,
I would almost bet that channel is probably monitored more than some of your ham channels.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. Although there are ham frequencies for emergency frequencies. So, yeah. Anyhow.
A lot of truckers.
Yeah, that there are. A lot of language.
Don't just listen to the channel.
It's always funny to listen. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of a good recap of winter stuff in a vehicle.
We have some articles, too, we can link to.
Yes, we do. And those would be my big tips, or, treat your vehicle right. I'm trying to think gear-wise. I mean, this is a great time to bust out layers when you're talking about clothing. Always make sure you throw a jacket in the vehicle or something like that. Oh, I wanted to mention that I always carry an umbrella. I know it sounds kind of dumb, and I have this weird stigma still about using an umbrella, but I've kind of gotten over it. Maybe I'm just getting
handy.
older.
I don't know why. Yeah, like that.
If I'm with Kelly, it seems more all right to use an umbrella, but I feel like
As
less.
you're walking, you're like, it's her umbrella. I'm just
I
holding
feel
it.
less manly when I use an umbrella, but I mean, honestly, that's what they're there for.
You mean the portable shelter device?
Yes.
Just think of it like that.
Yeah.
You got a porter. Yeah.
It's not a big golf umbrella or anything, but you know.
You have like a camping tent umbrella. Well, I was thinking too, like you're talking about layers and stuff and I cringe every time I see this when it's snowing and you'll see somebody running into the store in like shorts and flip flops because they knew they were going to be darting from the car into the store, so they could rely on that heat. But just be dressed for the weather.
Yeah,
and you shouldn't have as much issue. You can keep heavier layer items and stuff in the car if you get stuck, but if you're going out in snow, dress like you're going out in snow.
That's a good point too.
Because flip flops just kills me. It's like, man, cold feet are the worst.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do that and you are somebody that is going to do stuff like that, at least put the proper clothing in your car so that if you have to change, you can. So put a good pair of shoes and heavy socks and wool socks.
Warm stuff.
Yeah. So if you are going to be a moron in the cold, at least be a well-prepared moron in the cold. All right, thanks for listening to Gear Tasting Radio. Remember, if you have questions, use the pound tag Gear Tasting in a social media network, and we will get them answered for you. Be sure when you're on Apple Podcasts to subscribe. We would very much appreciate your subscription, as well as your review and hopeful 5-star review. I won't stress the importance of a 5-star review again, but I am.
Wink,
Please.
wink.
We really appreciate it. Anyhow, last but not least, we have our crew leader membership, which allows us to give you back something in return for your support. We had a product just the other day that we released to members on the early release. That's another perk of our membership, is that you get our products before anybody else, and it all sold out by the time the public release happened. So
sorry for partying.
Sorry for partying. Thanks for listening.